All right. So, are you ready to nail that printed circuit board test technician interview?
I know you are.
Because we are going to break down why interviewers ask certain questions
That's right.
and how to make your answers really pop.
You got it.
We'll be drawing on insights from RoleCatcher,
It's a fantastic resource,
not only for interview prep.
but also for your entire career.
Think of it like a,
Secret weapon.
oh, I like that.
Yeah.
A secret weapon. Okay, so before we get to the questions,
Right.
I think it's helpful to step back
Okay.
and get a really clear picture
Yeah.
of what a PCB test technician actually does.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not just about plugging in boards and hitting a button.
It's not.
Right.
No, it's
What?
more than that.
So what is it?
It's about being a quality gatekeeper,
Okay.
ensuring those intricate circuit boards, they're the heart of countless electronic devices
Yeah.
and that they're functioning flawlessly.
Right.
So think of it like
Yep.
being a detective.
You're meticulously inspecting and testing
Yeah.
for any defects.
I see. So being that quality control.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I think it gets really interesting.
Right.
Is the work environment
Oh, yeah.
can be
Sometimes.
pretty high tech.
Yeah.
We're talking clean rooms sometimes.
It's true.
And
Like
that.
something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Like those super controlled environments
Uh-huh.
to prevent contamination.
That's right.
And then you add on top of that automation and robotics are
Yeah.
increasingly important
Yeah.
in the field.
Right.
So it's not just about manual dexterity.
Right.
It's about,
You have to be tech savvy as well.
right. And speaking of tech savvy.
Oh, yeah. Good segue.
Yeah.
We will definitely touch upon
Right.
how RoleCatcher's AI can really help you
Right.
tailor your application
Okay.
and even practice your interview responses.
Love that.
But first,
Okay.
let's dive into some of those common
Yeah.
interview questions.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Are you ready?
Bring them on. I know our listeners eager to get prepped.
I think so too.
So let's imagine you're in the interview
Okay.
and they hit you with this question.
All right.
Describe your experience testing printed circuit boards.
It's a classic.
What's going through your mind?
Well, first, don't panic.
Right.
The interviewer's primary goal here
Right.
is to gauge your familiarity with the testing process itself.
Right.
And don't panic if you haven't had a dedicated PCB testing role before.
Okay.
Think about any related experience that demonstrates your understanding of electronics.
So even if it's a hobby or a school project,
Exactly.
it's worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Did you build your own computer?
Uh-huh.
Ever tinker with Arduino boards?
Mhm.
Or maybe repair some electronics around the house?
Okay.
Anything that shows you understand
Right.
basic circuits, components, and testing concepts
Okay.
is really valuable.
So you're really just showcasing that you understand electronics.
That's what they want to know.
That's the basis of this.
That's the foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how do you actually talk about those experiences
Good question.
in a way that impresses the interviewer?
Well,
Like, how do you weave that in?
you have to be specific
Okay.
and use concrete examples.
Got it.
Don't just
Fine.
say, I'm familiar with multimeters.
Right.
Instead, say
Understand.
something like,
Okay.
I used a multimeter to test for continuity in a circuit I built for a robotics project.
Ah.
You see the difference.
Yeah.
The more detail you can provide, the better.
So instead of just lifting skills,
Right.
you're painting a picture of how you've applied them.
Exactly.
Okay, like that.
Yeah.
Now, I bet a likely follow-up question here
I bet you're right.
would be,
Mm-hmm.
what types of testing equipment are you comfortable using?
Totally.
And I bet they're looking for specific equipment
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in the job description.
100%. Right.
So do your research.
If they mentioned using in-circuit testers or
Right.
flying probe testers,
Okay.
be prepared to talk about those.
So even if you haven't used a particular piece of equipment,
Yeah.
you can still demonstrate
Exactly.
your understanding,
Zagato.
its function and purpose.
That's the important part.
Okay, so we've tackled the first question,
Mm-hmm.
a potential follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on our list?
Let's move on to a question that assesses your attention to detail.
Okay.
How do you ensure the accuracy and reliability of your test results?
All right, so that seems pretty straightforward,
It does.
but I'm guessing there's more to it
There is,
than meets the eye.
right?
So why are they asking this? What are they really trying to gauge?
Well, this is a chance to show that you go beyond the basics.
Okay.
Because anyone can follow a procedure,
Right.
but they're looking for someone who's truly invested in quality.
Got it.
Think about it.
Okay.
A faulty circuit board could lead to malfunctioning devices, product recalls, even safety hazards.
Yeah.
Your answer needs to demonstrate that you understand
Okay.
the gravity of the task.
So how do you convey that level of understanding?
Okay, so beyond just saying you follow procedures,
Okay.
talk about specific actions you take to minimize errors.
Okay.
Mention things like using calibrated equipment,
Mm.
double-checking your work,
Ah,
keeping meticulous records.
right.
You could even talk about peer review,
I see.
having a colleague verify critical results.
So it shows you're thinking about quality control at every stage.
Yes,
Okay.
every step of the way.
Now, what if they throw a curveball?
Oh, I love curveballs.
Yeah. And they ask about a time you got an unexpected test result.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
How do you handle that?
The dreaded tell me about a time question.
Right.
Don't worry.
Okay.
These can be your friend.
Okay.
The key here is to demonstrate your problem-solving skills.
So it's not about pretending you never make mistakes.
No way.
It's about showing how you handle them.
Exactly.
Okay. Choose an example where you encountered a discrepancy,
Mm-hmm.
systematically investigated the issue,
Okay.
ruled out potential causes,
Uh-huh.
and ultimately found a solution.
I see.
And don't forget to highlight
Sure.
what you learned from the experience.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Employers value candidates who can learn from their mistakes
absolutely.
and adapt.
That's true.
All right, so we've covered
Uh-huh.
accuracy, reliability, and problem-solving.
Check.
What's next? Let's delve into a question that gets to the core
Okay.
of your technical skills.
All right.
Can you describe a time you encountered a problem while testing a PCB and how you resolved it?
So this is where all those hours
Mhm.
spent tinkering with electronics really pay off.
That's right.
But how do you structure your answer
Good question.
to make it stand out?
The STAR method is your best friend here.
The STAR method.
Yes.
Okay.
Think of a specific situation,
Okay.
the task you had to accomplish, the action you took,
Right.
and the result of your efforts.
Okay, so walk me through an example using the STAR method.
All right, so let's hear it. Let's say you were testing a board
Okay.
and a particular component wasn't functioning as expected.
Right.
That's your situation.
Okay.
Your task was to identify and resolve the issue.
Got it.
The action you took
Uh-huh.
might involve visual inspection,
Okay.
checking the schematics,
Mhm.
using a multimeter to test for continuity and voltage,
Right.
or maybe even using an oscilloscope
Okay.
to analyze the signal waveforms.
All right, so we've got the situation, the task, the action,
Right.
and what's the result?
Hopefully you were able to pinpoint the problem,
Okay.
maybe a faulty component
Right.
or a soldering issue.
Uh-huh.
You replaced the component,
Yeah.
resoldered the connection,
That-
and voila, the board passed the test.
It's like a mini success story,
Yeah.
highlighting your
Yeah.
technical expertise and problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
I bet a good follow-up question here would be,
What could it be?
what resources do you use when troubleshooting a complex PCB issue?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
This is your chance to show
Okay.
that you're resourceful
Mm.
and committed to continuous learning.
Okay.
So mention things like data sheets,
Right.
industry forums, online tutorials,
All right.
or even specialized software tools.
Now, you don't have to know everything.
No, of course not.
Right.
But you need to know where to find
Right.
reliable information.
Now, this is where I think
Mm-hmm.
RoleCatcher's AI comes in handy.
That's right.
Right.
It can be a big help.
I remember reading that it can analyze job descriptions
It can.
and help you identify the specific skills they're looking for, even if they're not explicitly stated.
It's like having an AI detective working alongside you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Deciphering those cryptic job descriptions.
Yes.
And highlighting the key words that really matter. So it's not just about guessing what they want.
No.
It's about using data
Right.
to pinpoint those must-have skills
Uh-huh.
and tailoring your answers accordingly.
You got it.
Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to
It is.
how RoleCatcher can help you prepare for interviews.
There's so much more.
We'll dive deeper into that later on.
Okay.
But for now,
All right.
let's get back to those interview questions.
Sounds good.
We've covered some of the more technical aspects,
Right.
but what about safety?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal, right?
Huge.
In this field.
Of course.
Okay, so interviewers want to see
Yes.
that you prioritize safety,
100%.
not just for yourself,
Uh-huh.
but for everyone around you.
Right.
So be prepared for a question like,
Okay, let's hear it.
how do you ensure compliance with safety regulations while testing PCBs?
That's a good one.
And this is where knowing your stuff about OSHA guidelines
For sure.
and industry standards is crucial.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So familiarize yourself with those.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, be able to articulate how you apply those regulations in your work.
Yeah, don't just recite rules.
Yeah.
You need to,
Show it.
yeah, showcase those safe work habits.
Okay, so talk about using appropriate personal protective equipment.
Yes.
Like EST straps
Mm-hmm.
to prevent electrostatic discharge.
Important.
Right.
Yeah.
Mention proper handling procedures
Mhm.
for chemicals and soldering equipment.
Right.
And emphasize that you always prioritize
Yes.
a clean and organized workspace to minimize hazards.
You got it.
So we've covered safety.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on our list?
Let's talk about staying current in a rapidly evolving field.
Oh, that's important.
It is.
Hey.
A common question is,
Yeah.
how do you stay up to date with the latest testing technologies and techniques?
Now, they're not expecting you to have a crystal ball,
No, of course not.
but they do want to see that you're...
Proactive and curious.
So it's about showing that you're not just content
Right.
with what you know.
Yeah.
You're actively seeking out new knowledge.
That's right.
Okay, so talk about specific actions you take
Yeah.
to stay current.
Uh-huh.
Do you subscribe to industry magazines like
Exactly.
Circuits Assembly or Electronic Design?
Right.
Do you attend webinars or conferences like the IPC Apex XPO?
That's a good one.
Do you participate in online forums or communities?
All great ways to stay up to date.
And it's not just about passively consuming information.
No.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with it.
So maybe you read an article about a new testing technique
Uh-huh.
and then experimented with it in your own work.
Exactly.
Or perhaps you learned about a new software tool
Mm-hmm.
and incorporated it into your workflow.
Great example.
Share those experiences to demonstrate your commitment to continuous learning.
You got it.
Now, I bet a good follow-up here would be,
I bet I know what you're going to say.
what area of PCB testing are you most interested in learning more about? And this is a chance to showcase...
Your passion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
For sure.
Do you have a particular fascination with high-speed digital testing?
Mm-hmm.
Are you intrigued by RF testing?
Right.
Or maybe you're excited about the increasing integration of
Uh-huh.
AI and machine learning in PCB testing.
There you go.
Whatever it is, articulate your enthusiasm
Yeah.
and show them you're eager to delve deeper.
Yeah, you want to let them know
Right.
that you're excited about it.
I love that it's not just about answering the question. It's about conveying
Right.
your genuine excitement for the
Okay.
field.
That's right.
And speaking of excitement,
Oh, yeah.
did you know that RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you identify
You can.
your strengths and interests?
Absolutely.
Really tell me more.
So, based on your experience and skills,
Okay.
their AI can suggest
Uh-huh.
potential career paths
Mm-hmm.
within the electronics industry,
Okay.
including specialized areas of PCB testing that
Uh-huh.
might be a perfect fit for you.
So it's like having a career counselor built into the platform.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about how RoleCatcher can help you
Mm-hmm.
shape your career trajectory.
You're wrong.
But for now,
Okay.
let's tackle a few more interview questions,
Sounds good.
shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Can you describe a time you had to work with a difficult team member or stakeholder and how you handled the situation?
Well, this one might make you sweat a little.
It might,
Yeah.
but it's a great opportunity to
Yeah.
showcase your interpersonal skills.
Right, because let's face it, in any job, you're going to encounter people who have different opinions,
For sure.
communication styles, maybe even clashing personalities.
That's right.
So how do you navigate those choppy waters
Yeah.
without throwing anyone under the bus?
Well, that's the key. You don't want to badmouth anyone.
Right.
Instead, focus on the situation and your actions,
Okay.
not on assigning blame.
Right.
So just briefly describe the conflict without getting into unnecessary details.
Okay.
And highlight the steps you took to resolve it.
Okay, so give me an example.
Right.
What kind of situation would work well here?
Let's say you had a teammate who wasn't pulling their weight on a project.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
Instead of complaining about them, you could explain how you approached them privately,
Right.
expressed your concerns in a constructive way, and offered your support to help them get back on track.
Okay.
Or maybe a stakeholder had unrealistic expectations about a testing deadline.
Right.
You could talk about how you calmly explained the technical limitations,
Okay.
proposed alternative solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and negotiated a more feasible timeline.
So it's about finding that balance between assertiveness and diplomacy.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, the outcome
Yep.
is just as important as the actions you took.
Right.
So were you able to resolve the conflict? Did you learn anything from the experience?
Yeah.
Did it strengthen the working relationship? So, and on a positive note,
Right.
that demonstrates your ability to handle challenging interpersonal situations effectively.
Okay, so we've covered conflict resolution.
We have.
What's next?
Let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about leadership.
Yeah.
Even if you're not applying for a management role,
Okay.
interviewers often want to see some leadership potential.
I see.
So be prepared for a question like,
Oh.
can you describe a time when you had to lead a team in testing a complex PCB project?
Now, this might seem daunting
It might.
if you haven't held a formal leadership position,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing you don't need to have been the CEO
No, not at all.
to have valuable leadership experience.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Think about any time you took initiative,
Okay.
guided others, or coordinated efforts within a team.
Right.
Even if it was for a small project or task.
Okay.
Maybe you led a group training session on a new testing procedure. Maybe you took the lead on troubleshooting a particularly challenging problem and delegated tasks to others.
Okay.
Even mentoring a newer team member
Right.
demonstrates leadership qualities.
So there's a lot of ways
There are.
that you can weave leadership into your experience
Absolutely.
without having had like
You're right.
a manager title or anything.
Exactly.
Right.
So you got a potential leadership scenario in mind.
I do.
How do we articulate that
Yeah, how do we actually...
in a way that highlights those leadership skills?
Okay.
You're going to want to use the STAR method again.
Uh-huh.
Describe the situation, the task,
Right.
the action you took, and the result.
Okay.
But this time,
How you...
focus on actions that demonstrate leadership qualities.
Right.
Like planning,
Right.
delegating,
Uh-huh.
motivating others,
Right.
making decisions.
Okay, so instead of just saying we tested the board,
Right.
I might say I divided the testing tasks among the team members.
Exactly.
Based on their expertise.
Yes.
Ensured everyone had the necessary resources and guidance.
Yes.
And then coordinated our efforts to ensure we met the project deadline.
Perfect.
There you go.
You're highlighting those leadership actions
Right.
and showcasing your ability to guide a team towards a successful outcome.
I like it.
Now, common follow-up question here
Okay.
might be,
Yeah.
what challenges did you face in leading this project and how did you overcome them?
Because no project goes perfectly smoothly.
Of course not.
There are always bumps along the way.
That's right.
Right.
So think about any obstacles you encountered,
Okay.
whether it was a technical glitch,
Mm-hmm.
a miscommunication, a tight deadline,
Right.
even personality clashes within the team,
Okay.
and explain how you stayed calm under pressure,
Right.
assessed the situation, found a solution.
I see.
Did you have to adjust the plan, communicate more proactively, seek help from others? You want to highlight those actions.
Okay.
Emphasize how your leadership helped the team navigate those challenges successfully.
It's about showing that you can not only lead when things are going well,
Right.
but also when the going gets tough.
Exactly.
Right. And remember,
Yes.
those leadership skills are valuable in any role.
They
Aren't just management positions.
No. Right? So it shows you're proactive, responsible,
Right.
capable of taking initiative.
These are all qualities that
Yes.
any employer would appreciate.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've covered technical skills, problem solving, interpersonal skills,
Right.
leadership, safety. What other essential areas do we need to touch upon?
Let's talk about efficiency.
Okay.
A common interview question is, how do you ensure that testing processes are efficient and effective?
Now that seems a bit broad.
But it is a little bit.
But I'm guessing there's a reason why they're asking this.
There is.
So what is it?
They want to see that you're not just a task doer,
Okay.
but a process-oriented thinker who's always looking for ways to improve.
And because time is money.
It is.
In any industry.
Absolutely.
TTP testing is no exception.
You got it.
Yeah.
So your answer needs to demonstrate that you understand the importance of optimizing processes, streamlining workflows, eliminating waste
Okay.
without compromising quality or accuracy.
So it's about being smart.
Yes.
Not just fast.
Right.
But how do you actually show
Good question.
that you've done that?
Think about specific examples from your experience where you've improved a process or made things more efficient.
Okay.
Maybe you developed a checklist that helped reduce errors or reorganize the workspace for smoother flow.
Okay.
Streamline documentation to save time.
And if you implemented any automation or used software tools?
Oh, definitely highlight those.
Yeah.
Talk about how you identified areas for improvement.
Right.
Implemented those changes and what the positive results were.
Okay.
Did you reduce testing time?
Right.
Increase throughput? Minimize errors?
Okay.
Quantify those achievements?
Numbers always speak louder than words.
They do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as by doing X, I was able to reduce testing time by 10%.
Right.
Shows you're results-oriented and have a tangible impact on the bottom line.
Okay, so we've covered efficiency.
We have.
What's next on our list?
Let's talk about communication.
Okay.
A common interview question is, how do you communicate test results to stakeholders and team members?
So this one might not seem as technical.
You're right, it's not.
As some of the other questions,
but it's incredibly important.
Why is that?
Well, because even if you're a whiz at testing, if you can't effectively communicate those findings, it's all for naught.
Right. You've got to be able to convey that information.
Exactly. Imagine discovering a critical flaw in a circuit board. But not being able to explain it clearly to the engineers who need to fix it.
Disaster.
That's a disaster.
So this question is really about showcasing your ability to convey sometimes complex information.
Yes.
In a way that's
clear, concise, and easy to understand, regardless of who you're talking to.
And it's not just about speaking clearly. It's also about tailoring your communication style to your audience.
Exactly.
Right. You wouldn't explain a technical issue to a non-technical person the same way you would to a fellow engineer.
Exactly.
Right. So you would adjust your level of detail and technical jargon accordingly.
You got it.
But how do you show that adaptability in an interview setting?
You want to give specific examples of how you've communicated test results in different ways. Maybe you've written detailed reports, presented findings in meetings, or even created easy-to-understand visuals like graphs or charts.
To summarize data.
And it's not just about what you communicate, but how you communicate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Emphasize your ability to listen actively, ask clarifying questions, and ensure that everyone understands the information being presented.
And always prioritize accuracy and clarity, because misunderstandings can have serious consequences in this field.
They can.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about how to approach questions about technical skills, problem solving, interpersonal skills, leadership, safety, efficiency, and communication.
Check, check, check.
I'm sensing some key themes emerging here.
What are you seeing?
They want to see your technical knowledge, for sure.
For sure.
But they're also looking for someone who's proactive, detail-oriented, a good communicator, and always looking for ways to improve.
It's true. And honestly, those skills are valuable.
In any career, not just as a PCB test technician.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier. RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on how those can specifically help with these interview questions?
Absolutely. So remember how we talked about tailoring your resume to match the specific skills in the job description? Well, RoleCatcher does something similar for interview prep.
You mean it can help you anticipate what questions you might be asked?
Exactly. Based on the role and the company. Their AI can suggest potential interview questions, giving you a head start on your preparation. And here's the really cool part.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell me more.
You can actually practice your answers with their AI tool.
Wow.
Get feedback on how you're doing.
Wait, so it's like having a mock interview with a virtual coach.
Exactly.
I love that.
The AI analyzes your responses, identifies areas for improvement, and even gives you suggestions on how to strengthen your answers.
Wow, that's incredible.
It can even analyze your video rehearsals, providing insights into your communication style and body language.
So you're not just going in blind, hoping for the best. You're getting personalized coaching.
You are.
To help you ace those interview questions.
That's right.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
I know, right?
This is taking interview prep.
It is.
To a whole new level.
A whole new level.
So not only does RoleCatcher help you get your foot in the door with a tailored application, but it also gives you the tools and insights
Absolutely.
to really shine. In the interview itself,
You got it.
it's about combining preparation and strategy with the power of AI to give you that competitive edge.
That's what it's all about.
And we've still got more to cover.
We do.
Ready for the next batch of questions.
I am.
Absolutely. Let's keep this momentum going.
Okay, so we're back.
Round 3.
For the final round.
Ding, ding.
Of our interview prep deep dive.
That's right.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there are a few more key areas.
Before you walk into that interview feeling like a total rock star.
Feeling confident.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills and qualities that make a great PCB test technician.
Right.
But let's not forget about the actual work environment.
That's right.
Remember those clean rooms we mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah.
They're essential for maintaining the integrity of those sensitive circuit boards. I was picturing myself all decked out in a bunny suit, working with high-tech equipment.
Absolutely.
In a super sterile environment.
It's like stepping into a sci-fi movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and as we discussed earlier, automation and robotics are playing an increasingly important role.
In the field.
Yeah.
So be prepared to talk about your comfort level working with advanced technology.
Right.
Whether it's automated testing systems, data analysis software, or even collaborative robots.
All part of the job.
Okay. So we've got the cool factor covered.
Yeah.
But let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay.
What else do we need to prepare for?
So a common question is, how do you prioritize your work when you have multiple tasks? Or projects on your plate.
All right. So this is about showcasing your time management skills.
Yes.
Your ability to stay organized. And your decision-making prowess.
That's right.
Especially under pressure.
Yes, especially under pressure.
Because in a fast-paced manufacturing environment, things can change quickly.
Oh, they do.
There might be rush orders, unexpected problems, or shifting deadlines.
All the time.
So your answer needs to demonstrate that you can handle chaos. Adapt to changing priorities and still deliver results.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do we convey that level of competence?
So start by emphasizing your understanding of the importance of deadlines and commitments.
Okay.
You could say something like, I always make sure I have a clear understanding of the priorities and deadlines for each task or project.
Okay.
And I communicate proactively with my team if anything changes.
So it's about being organized, responsible, and a good communicator.
You got it.
Okay.
And don't just talk about it in general terms. Give specific examples.
Okay.
Maybe you use a to-do list, a project management app,
or
color code your calendar to stay on track.
I see.
And then walk them through a real-life scenario where you had to juggle multiple demands. Maybe a rush order that came in while you were in the middle of a complex testing project.
Okay, so how did you handle that situation? What did you do?
I assessed the urgency of each task, communicated with stakeholders to adjust expectations if needed, and then reorganize my workflow to accommodate the new priority.
So you're really showcasing that you can think on your feet, adapt to changing circumstances, and still meet those critical deadlines.
That's what they want to see.
Like a mini case study in effective time management.
I like it.
Okay, so we've covered prioritization.
We have.
What's next?
Let's dive back into some technical territory.
Okay.
A common question is,
all right,
what are some common types of defects you might find when testing a PCB?
Okay.
And how would you identify them?
Okay. Time to flex those technical muscles.
That's right.
Okay, so they want to see that you understand the construction of a PCB, the potential failure points, and your ability to diagnose those issues.
Exactly.
Using a combination of visual inspection and specialized testing equipment.
That's right.
But where do you even begin?
That's a good question.
There are so many potential defects.
There are a lot.
How do you even...
So you want to start by categorizing the types of defects.
Okay.
You could talk about soldering defects, like cold solder joints or bridges, component failures, shorts opens, or even design flaws.
Okay.
Then for each category, give a specific example and explain how you would identify it.
Okay, so walk me through an example. Let's say you suspect a soldering defect.
Okay.
What do you do?
Well, I'd start with a visual inspection.
Okay.
Looking for anything that looks out of place, like dull solder joints, excess solder, or components that aren't properly seated.
Okay.
If I spot something suspicious, I'd use a multimeter to test for continuity or resistance.
I see.
For example, if I suspect a cold solder joint, I'd expect to see higher resistance than normal.
So you're really backing up your visual inspection?
Yeah.
With some
data.
Hard data.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about component failures?
Those are tricky.
Yeah. How do you diagnose those?
Component failures can be tricky, but a multimeter can help again.
Okay.
You can check for shorts, opens, or incorrect resistance values for more complex issues.
Okay.
You might need an oscilloscope to analyze the signals going in and out of the component.
I see.
If the signal is distorted or missing, it could indicate a problem.
And those dreaded design flaws?
Oh, boy.
Those seem even harder to spot.
They can be.
How do you even approach that?
Sometimes it's a matter of noticing that a particular component is overheating. Or that a circuit isn't behaving as expected in those cases.
Okay.
You might need to consult the schematics, use simulation software, or collaborate with engineers to identify the root cause of the problem.
It's like being a detective.
It is.
Piecing together the clues to solve a mystery.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
Now, while we're on the topic of potential problems, it's a good segue into another crucial area.
All right.
Back to safety.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Interviewers always want to see that you prioritize safety.
Right.
So be prepared for a question like, what steps would you take to ensure the safety of yourself and others while working with electrical equipment?
Okay. Safety first.
Always.
We've touched on this before. But it's worth emphasizing.
It is.
Think about the specific hazards involved in PCB testing, like electricity, soldering irons, sharp tools, and potentially hazardous materials.
Absolutely.
And then outline the specific actions you take to mitigate those risks.
That's what they want to know.
So beyond just saying, I follow safety regulations.
Yes. You need to give concrete examples.
Right. Talk about using personal protective equipment, like safety glasses, gloves, and ESD straps. Mention proper lockout-tagout procedures before working on any energized equipment. Emphasize the importance of a clean and organized workspace to prevent accidents. And highlight your knowledge of safe handling and disposal procedures for chemicals and soldering materials.
And don't forget to mention that you would report any unsafe conditions or near misses to your supervisor immediately.
Absolutely.
Because that demonstrates your commitment to creating a safe work environment.
Yes.
Okay, so we've covered safety, but I'm curious, how do those clean rooms tie into all of this?
Great question. So clean rooms are all about controlling contamination, which is crucial for PCB testing. Even tiny dust particles or static electricity can damage those sensitive components.
So that's why you wear those bunny suits.
Exactly.
To minimize shedding and static buildup.
You got it.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
Okay, now speaking of cool.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
Let's shift gears and talk about training.
Okay.
A common interview question is, how would you approach training a new team member on PCB testing procedures?
That's a good one.
So it's like a blend of technical knowledge and those interpersonal skills
for sure
we talked about earlier.
That's right.
So they want to see that you can not only do the job yourself, but you can effectively explain it to others. Ensuring they can do it safely and correctly.
That's important.
So it's not just about being an expert. It's about being a good teacher, too.
Exactly.
Okay. So
think about how you learn best and then apply those principles to how you would train someone else. Would you start with a clear overview of the process? Maybe using a flowchart or diagram. Would you break down the procedure into smaller, more manageable steps? Would you use hands-on demonstrations and practice sessions to reinforce the learning?
And those safety procedures are crucial to emphasize during training.
Yeah, you don't want to cut corners when it comes to safety.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I want to bring us back something you mentioned earlier. Role catchers, AI-powered tools.
Those are great.
You mentioned that they could help identify career paths.
They can.
practice interview responses. But can they help with training, too?
They can.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's AI
Right.
can actually curate personalized training materials.
Wow.
Based on the specific skills and knowledge required for the job you're applying for.
So it's like having a customized training program.
Yes.
Tailored to your needs.
Exactly.
It's like having a virtual mentor guiding you every step of the way.
That's right.
From applying for the job to preparing for the interview to even getting up to speed on the actual work.
You got it.
Okay. I'm sold.
Good.
RoleCatcher sounds like an indispensable resource.
It is.
For anyone in the electronics industry.
I think so.
So before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question. Now that you've learned what it takes to ace this interview, what area of PCB testing excites you the most?
Oh.
What kind of impact do you hope to make in this field?
That's a great question.
I think so, too.
To ponder as you embark on this exciting career journey.
It's going to be exciting.
The world runs on electronics.
It does.
And as a PCB test technician, you'll be playing a critical role in ensuring...
An important role. That those devices function flawlessly.
That's right.
It's a challenging and rewarding path.
It is.
And we wish you all the best in your job search.
Good luck out there.
Don't forget to check out RoleCatcher for all your career needs.
Yes.
Good luck.